It looks awesome. I'm going to say it looks awesome. I'm going to use the word awesome because
I wouldn't
you don't
technically
need
say that 60 frames is best for games. I say anything above 30 because
Mhm.
in actual game play, you really can't notice the difference between anything really above 30. Now, when you get down to zooming in or actually getting into the nitty gritty of like video editing and slow moing things like that, then you're really going to see the difference. But in actual, you know, gameplay, unless we're talking like high end freaking Battlefield, like top end graphics, something like WoW, you're really not going to see it. But
Yeah. And Nexius, mentioned too about 24 FPS that film captures motion blur, so it gives you it gives you the feeling of smoothness based on the motion blur. So it's kind of it's no no excuse.
they
It's
can
still
do it in a
bad.
lower frames per second and give you the
Yeah.
illusion that it's a really high end, like
Yeah.
higher frames per second. That's what the motion blur is good for.
Basically what you're doing is you're blurring everything to make it look smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't like that. I like motion blur. It does make things look smooth, and you do need it. Even at 60 FPS, you can use some motion blur to make a smoother look. Um, but it's no excuse for 24 FPS. Okay. What about 60 FPS? Do you need it? It's great for games. Better for games. Looks awesome. How about for video?
Yeah, I
Yes.
recommend it. Big time.
60 FPS for video is awesome.
Everything.
Now, is it a little bit overkill? I think in some situations it can be. Like if you're just taking a shot of the mountains in your movie at
If you
60
don't plan to do a
FPS.
lot of editing to that shot, you don't need to go to
Mhm.
60. But if you're going to throw in the effects, the slow-mos, the things like that, you want to have the highest, 60 you can get to.
Yeah, I put in here for lots of movement. So that's
Yep.
really going to be key for movement. And how about 90 plus FPS for games?
3D.
Hmm?
3D. You need it for 3D.
You need 90 FPS for 3D, really?
120. My
Oh,
monitor goes to 120. I have to put it on 120 if I want to play in 3D.
nice. Heck yeah, I'm going to say 90 plus FPS is great for games if you can reach it. And how about for cinema? Is there any reason why we need it for
For
cinema for
cinema?
movies?
No, not when you can. Not when they're doing the whole motion blur thing. I mean, the higher the frames in actual movies, basically gives you the feeling of it being real, along with dynamic contrast ratio. Basically, that's the only reason they want to go with the higher FPS. I mean, if you imagine watching Avatar and The Hobbit, when you watch that on a really nice higher FPS screen, it looks real. Like it's really really good quality. But they
Yeah,
also do that by tossing in higher end contrast ratio. So
very nice insight. Thank you. Um, Now I'll tell you that for cinema, for videos, um, there are cameras. You know the Epic Red camera and stuff. You guys know about the Epic Red camera. I'll look it up really quick so you can see it. It's really cool looking. These are going to go obsolete. It's already old. Nobody wants these. Maybe some old cinema guys still use these things, but they do still have some advantages. But you can actually buy a consumer camera that does the same thing as an Epic Red now for about $2,000. The new what is it? The new Panasonic GH, is it the GH3 or the GH4? The new GH4 does what the Epic Red does, and it only costs $300. But let me show you how expensive this is. Let's go to buy it. Now, the Epic Red, the reason that I wanted to show you guys this is because it does shoot at 120 FPS, and this is used for cinema. Where is it? Where do you buy them at? It doesn't even tell you where you can buy them because they don't want you to see how expensive the prices are. They're like, oh yeah, they want you to fall in love with it first, and then, okay, for this little box right here, monochrome. Okay, for a black and white one, costs $25,000. No lens, no battery, no anything. just the black and white box itself. Let's see. So there's the Epic M, and they each have like some they have different features. Let's see here. Monochrome, is that what it means? It can't be. That can't mean black and white. No camera shoots in black and white. That's stupid. I don't know what that means, monochrome. But yeah, they start at $24,000, and then you buy the lens, and then you buy the battery, and then you buy the audio equipment and the SSD drives and all of this, and they shoot RAW. So those of you guys that are photographers, you know about RAW images are really nice. They have a really high dynamic range. Well, imagine shooting at 120 frames per second. When all your images are RAW with high dynamic range, that means you can go back and color grade. You can go back and do slow motion. You can go do all kinds of stuff with that footage. And so there is actually an incentive to shoot at a higher frame rate in a higher resolution. These also go up to like 4K resolution. So yeah, here it goes, 4.5K RAW. And it looks like this one only goes up to 60 FPS. This is the cheapy one. The $26,000 one is the cheap one. It doesn't even go above 60 frames per second. Yeah, these ones. Let me show you what happened. Like, we all dreamed about having an Epic Red. No longer, because now there's the Sony GH4. So you can get 4K video with 90 FPS now with the Sony GH4. So you guys that are interested in video, then I'll show you the GH4. Where is it? We'll go to Sony. Here it is. Where is it? Oh, I meant Panasonic. I'm sorry. Panasonic. I'm sorry. That was dumb. Let's see what they got for us here. The Butter King says, what about real life FPS? We don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody wants to tell us. Nobody can answer that question, so we're never going to know. So here it is, just for the body of the GH4 is $1,700. It captures at 4K resolution. You're not going to get the high dynamic range, I don't think, but it does have a higher bit rate that you can capture at. So it's higher than 8-bit. You know, it does capture like a 10 or 12-bit resolution. So you do get extra dynamic range. And it looks like it's still a little bit slow. Okay, it's a bit slow still at 4K. But for the consumer, for the price, they did some... They were doing testing, and the reason that I say that we're done with red and we're going to move to these mirrorless, or not mirrorless, but what is it? They don't have a moving mirror or whatever in them. The reason that we're going to switch to these is because they did the tests, and the GH4 is actually looking better, sharper, with a better tone and stuff than the Epic Red. So how is that even possible that you can pay $30,000 for a red and the GH4 is outperforming it in terms of the final video quality that it exports without any editing? So yeah, so I think that's kind of anyway, got sidetracked there.
That's not who you ask. That's over 9,000 FPS. Real life is actually only one frame. You have to die to get to the next one.
Whoa, that's deep. You know, I think in what is it? Like quantum physics or something, they're trying to break down, quantum moments and stuff. Now, I've never studied that. I don't understand it. I can't really keep on a conversation about that for too long. Athene was talking about it a little bit when he did his theory of everything. He mentioned some of the ideas. He never really made sense of any of the ideas. He never really had a conclusion. I didn't really find that he ever concluded anything, but he at least was talking about the quantum moments, as if, every moment in quantum mechanics or whatever can be quantified. So there were some interesting theories about that. Maybe that is the limit of real life FPS. Real life is actually holographic. Yep, there is no spoon, guys. There is
There's
no
no
spoon.
spoon.
Yeah. Another scientist will come up with another branch of science, and they'll call it what will they call it? Synaptic mechanics. And in synaptic mechanics, then there's no such thing as quantal moments. It's just one frame, and then you die, and then you go to the next one. Oh wait, that's trust in mechanics. Nexia says they found out what happens when light gets to the end of the universe. Spoiler, it bounces back. There's no end of the universe. There is no universe, Nexius. Duh. All right, so I think we had the discussion, and what do we come up with? Do we reach a conclusion here? I think that what it looks like, according to what I wrote down here, it looks like the higher FPS is more versatile. So that's going to be my conclusion, is that higher FPS
Depends on what context you're talking about it in, though, because FPS for movies is not the same for FPS while you're gaming, which is also not the same for the FPS which you need for actual editing. It really depends on the context you're talking about. And there's actually no discernible proof for what we can or cannot see yet, because no one knows.
That's right.
People who make definitive conclusions that we only see 30 frames per second might as well just get slapped upside the head, because they have no fucking idea what they're talking about.
How many frames can you see? 30? Smack them. How many can you see now, bitch?
Did you see the 30 frames per second in my hand slapping you upside the head? Because it was beautiful.
You're gonna see 60 this time.
Because I saw all 9,000 and it was awesome.
Yep. Punch someone in the face. You're gonna see 1 FPS. It's just gonna be white.
You know, the next part is resolution, right?
Oh yeah. Do you want to do resolution?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, for next time. For next time, so we could play some games. Yeah, because we did an hour, so we'll do an hour. Next time. We'll do an hour discussion, and
yeah, because a lot of misconceptions about that one too.
I do want to say really quickly. Yeah, resolution I think, is much easier to define.
Yep.
I mean, FPS is easy to define, right? But resolution, I think we're all gonna agree on a lot more.
Well, there's just a lot.
I was gonna say higher.
So it's a good thing to bring up. Depends on what.
So I'm gonna say higher FPS looks better for games, and it is more versatile. When editing, and the reason is because of slow motion. And what you can do, you guys, what I've been asking all of the legends to do now is record in 60 FPS. And before, it wasn't a big deal. A lot of the legends, surprisingly, not all of the legends in Legends of the Arena have computers that can do 60 FPS. I think most of them do. But some have only been able to capture at 30 FPS. And that's fine. I think it was Hansel versus Snuts. Hansel gave me 30, Snuts gave me 60. And I was still able to kind of keep it really smooth and stuff during the slow motion. But when you do 60 FPS, yeah, now YouTube supports, I'm going to put that right here for 60 FPS. Oh, YouTube supports it now. And it's great for slow motion. Because if you do the math on this, let's say that you take 30 FPS, and I want to slow it down to half speed. All right, now if you cut, the way it works is if you want to slow down 30 FPS and make it half as fast, basically you're cutting the frame rate in half. So divide 30 by 2, and that's 15 FPS. And we all agreed earlier that 15 FPS is shit, and that we can tell how choppy 15 FPS is. Yeah, now you can add a little bit of motion blur, smooth it out a little bit, but it's still going to kind of be, chop, 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 it's going to be a blurry chop, chop, chop.